Let's get right into the news this week. We're starting off with something good, Adrian. Something that we've been saying here on Only Comics. Pay the people, right? We've been saying that. Why we've been saying that? We've been saying that because the writers in Hollywood were on strike. The directors were on strike. So, and it really boiled down to the fact that the writers and directors were not being paid on streaming the way they were being paid on television shows and whatnot. And then at some point, the writers said, "Screw y'all, we're going on strike until we get our money." They wanted some they wanted some protection built in for studios using AI to basically replace them. Right. So we've talked about AI a little bit here on this show. And Adrian, I was talking to this guy who he was an extra in a couple of movies. He was an extra in a Wonder Woman movie. And he was telling me that even him as an extra, they still scanned his body, right? And then so they bring in, like, let's say a dozen extras, and they scan them all. And then when you see these scenes, like he was telling me about a mall scene where there's people everywhere, they only had like 10 or 12 extras, and then they scan them and just duplicate them and change. Like, they could scan you, throw you on the computer, change your clothes, and throw you in the scene like you're another person.
Right. So they'll see, like, the back of my head. They won't see multiple faces, but they'll see, my physical form and doing multiple things at the same time. Wow.
Different outfits. So you may walk by yourself in the movie. So granted, the studios, there were no rules against what they could do with AI because AI was so new. So how does that affect us here at Only Comics? Well, when there's a strike, it means nobody's working, right? It means they're not writing movies. It means that they're not creating movies. So just this past week, actually last Sunday, the second longest strike in Hollywood history came to a stop. So it was after 146 days of labor stoppage. So the writer's strike has ended. The director's strike, or the actor's strike, has not ended yet. But with the writer's strike ending, what that means is they can start working on some of these projects that have been put on pause. They didn't release all the details, but basically it was really, I guess, obviously what the writers were looking for. There are now protections in place against AI. Essentially, writers can use AI as they feel they need, but studios cannot use AI to replace them. And they basically said that from a financial standpoint, they're being taken care of in every way that they should. Like I said, the details have not been released, but I'm happy for them. It's awesome. And, from a selfish fan standpoint, that means we can get back on track with some of these movies, because like you were we were talking before we got on there, it's like, dude, there's nothing to watch right now. I mean, we went on a run. We were, reviewing movies like every week here. Dude, I can't remember the last time we went out to watch something to review.
Well, I mean, there's old stuff that we can go back into, but, with a little digging. But, it was exciting, like, over the summer to be able to go and review, a few movies. I'm excited, too, about this, that the writers are coming back because, at the very least, some scripts can start getting in place. Some movies can start, getting written. And then we can fill in the bodies later, just like, with AI, once they scan you, they put your body wherever. So the writers can at least
ask Nicolas Cage about that.
So the writers can at least, get the storylines all set. And then once the actors, the thing gets resolved with the actors, they can then come in and then fill those roles with the writing that has been done in the background. All good news.
Yep, absolutely. And that brings me to my next piece of news that kind of ties right into this. A new X-Men movie is in the early stages of development at Marvel Studios. This, I think, is great news because we're pretty honest here. We've been accused of telling the truth at times. And the MCU right now, the current phases have been pretty shitty. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Yeah, do you agree with that?
Shitty works.
Shitty, right? Of the movies that they've released, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Spider-Man No Way Home are the only two that are actually worth a shit. Be honest, right? I mean, Wakanda Forever, it's okay. I don't know.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Okay.
It wasn't.
That was a huge disappointment to me. But it is what it is. So let's move on.
Right. So hearing that they're starting the early stages of development on a X-Men movie, I think that's great news. X-Men. I mean, I know I'm a huge X-Men fan. I know you're a pretty big X-Men fan. And the Fox movies, they kind of have a special place for me. They were as good as they could have been at the time.
Right.
But seeing, you know, with the technology that we have now and what we've seen in the MCU as far as like bringing comic accurate costumes, characters, storylines to screen, I'd love to see the X-Men get that same attention.
Right. I'm on the fence about it. This is great news that they're coming out with the new X-Men movie, or the movie has begun to be in development. I'm a little concerned because I haven't had a good enough experience. You know, unlike the Avengers or the Guardian of the Galaxies, I haven't had a good enough experience across the X-Men properties in order to be like, I'm really excited for this new movie to come out. They just seem to be kind of, you know, messing it up, just kind of like they did with the Fantastic Four. So I'm lukewarm about the movie actually coming out. I do hope they, you know, knock my socks off, but I just don't have enough good experience with their properties as them being good movies to me. To be overly excited about this next thing.
Yeah, and the part where I'm nervous is not where you are. It's more, will the MCU fumble this bag this time because of their recent history?
Right.
You know, it's like if it was, you know, peak MCU, Endgame, Infinity War time, I'd probably feel really good about it. But with their track record as of late, I'm a little hesitant.
Right.
Now, we're looking at, I mean, we're probably getting way ahead of ourselves. This movie probably won't be released until after Secret Wars, which is right now May of 27. So we're talking 28. So we're talking at least 4 years before we see it.
Right.
You know, so, and also, I mean, will we see it?
Right. That's the other thing. You know, why even release this information?
Right.
I mean, it's like you had something that you had to drop as soon as the Writers Guild was over, just to stay relevant, you know, in the business, and you drop this news. Why even bother dropping this news?
Right.
I mean, there's so many other things that, you know, you could be working on, or, you know, dropping something that's a little bit more developed, you know, that's going to have a closer release date. You know, the X-Men is not one of those things that you should have just, you know, haphazardly just thrown out there. So I'm a little disappointed in that. But they got 4 years to figure it out.
Yeah, true. I thought you were going to hit him with, listen, Buster, you know, like, hey, Buster.
Hey, Buster.
But, you know, it wasn't in this article that I sent you, Adrian, but I read somewhere else that the rumor right now is that Wolverine will not be part of the original X-Men crew. Now, that's just another rumor from one of those, well, you know, one of those trusted sources.
Right.
Now, let's just, you know, we have fun here. Let's assume that that's the truth, right? Let's assume Wolverine's not going to be part of this first X-Men incarnation in the MCU. Do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea?
It depends on when they drop. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Again, you know, I've always been a champion of, you know, let's let some of these other characters, you know, bubble up.
Yeah.
We have a character later on that we're going to discuss that has really gotten overshadowed and, you know, just buried in the comic book world. So I'm okay with a Wolverine not being on the scene.
Really?
You know, bring out some of the younger people, just like the Titans right now is kind of taking over the Justice League.
Yeah.
Is replacing the Justice League. We need to have a new era of mutants or X-Men come in and do the same for this, you know, Charles Xavier era, you know, team of superheroes. So I'm cool with it.
You are. Are you a fan, like in general, forget about, you know, MCU and giving new actors a chance, but I mean, there's comic stories with X-Men that don't include Wolverine. Sure. There's series. There are even some movies like the whole X-Men First Class. There was no Wolverine. Are you a fan of the I guess the non-Wolverine project? Because I'm like, I hear this, but I go, really, we're going to wait all this time to see the X-Men on live screen, you know, on live action again, or the X-Men brought into the MCU, and we're not going to include Wolverine? It just seems like it pisses me off, honestly. Are you a fan of those stories without Wolverine?
Again, depending on when they launch this thing and how they launch this thing, I'm okay with Wolverine not being there. However, I do agree it's kind of, I won't say suspect, but it's weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like,
you was about to say they're a little sus right now.
It's almost like when you don't like the Batman shows or the comics with the family in it.
Right.
You like to see Batman doing local stuff. This is kind of the same thing. I mean, is there an X-Men without the Wolverine? Kind of not.
Yeah.
Almost like there's no Justice League without a Batman or Superman.
Right.
You know, I matter of fact, I saw a comic the other day, a picture of an art piece. It was Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batgirl, like just going at something.
Yeah.
And I looked at that, and it's like, what's wrong with this picture?
Right.
Batgirl shouldn't be in this picture with these two.
Yeah.
It should have been Batman or Green Lantern or somebody, but not Batgirl. So it's kind of like that feeling where Wolverine, he should be there, but I'm okay. At least initially. You don't have to bring him out. But this is also a great opportunity for them to cast somebody else younger as the Wolverine. They got 3 or 4, maybe 5 years to develop a character. They got years to develop stories. I mean, this is really an opportunity to do a true reboot and bring back all these characters the way they should be.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, but if it's my vote, I go, let's include them, please, for the love of God. Because I look at, like you just said, it's like, oh, we're going to do Justice League, but we're going to have Superman's dog. We'll have Wonder Man in there instead of Wonder Woman, and then we'll have Batman, but it will be James Gordon playing. But why? Why?
Right. Yeah.
I
got you.
So I'm like, no, let's. So anyway, but good news that they're at least working on that because I'd love to see them on screen done properly.
I actually don't think they'll do it though. I think they're just pissing out information to kind of like upset the fan base. Again, staying relevant.
Yeah.
Let's give them some talking bites. We have nothing else for them to talk about, so let's pull back one of the most famous characters out of this group, just to kind of rile the fan base up.
Yeah. Well, how about why don't we tell them then? All right. So if we're gonna pick five X-Men that have to be in this film, okay? Right. If it's up to us, do we agree Wolverine's got to be in this film?
Wolverine.
Okay. Professor X, right?
Professor X. Yep.
Would you say Cyclops?
Definitely.
We have to do more than 5. We're gonna do 10.
Okay.
All right. Cyclops.
Yep.
Storm.
Storm.
Beast.
Yep.
Rogue.
Yep.
Jubilee.
Nope.
No. Ooh.
Nah. She's
okay.
Not that important. Not that important.
All right.
I mean, Rogue is even. I would put her like 10. There's a couple other people I would
10.
put. Like I would put Colossus there.
Colossus.
Nightcrawler.
Who else we got? We got 2 more. Emma Frost. I know she's in and out. Sometimes she's X-Men. Sometimes she's not.
Right. But no, the core X-Men. Those guys. Jubilee's a stretch though.
Okay. Banshee. That's old school.
Yeah, that's old school. That's Scottish. Oh, again, he's like over there.
Yeah.
A strong character nonetheless. How do we forget
Jean?
Oh yeah, Jean.
Duh.
Duh.
All right. That's Dark 9. Phoenix, we need one 9. More, Adrian. Who is it?
I mean, if you're gonna throw Jubilee in there, you might as well throw Gambit in there.
Gambit. Right. There we go.
Yep. So,
that's the core group right there.
Yep.
So we said it. I'll see if I remember them. Wolverine, Cyclops, Professor X, Jean Grey, Beast, Nightcrawler, Gambit, Colossus, Rogue,
Jubilee.
There you have it. That's the lineup right there.
Yep.
Top 10 you need for X-Men. All right, moving on. James Cameron. Jimmy over here.
Jimmy boy.
Jimmy, he's talking. And he's saying some stuff that he's not alone in these shots that, it's funny. The MCU has been around, 10, 15 years now? 08, I think, right. First Iron Man movie, okay? And most successful movie franchise ever, right? I mean, if you add up all the billions that they've sold at the box, nothing even comes close. Biggest cinematic universe ever as far as the amount of movies, shows, and everything that ties into it. As much as we give parts of it shit, I mean, the MCU is one of the most impressive things in Hollywood, in my opinion.
When did it start? What year?
08.
2008.
Yep.
Okay. Well, now, you can't forget my boy. Oh, well, so there's the MCU, and then there's the Marvel presence in movies, which goes back decades, of course.
Okay.
And I would argue that they should at least take it back to Snipes' Blade.
Okay.
I'm just saying. That's just me.
All right. Well, hey, if you're saying, yeah, I mean, actually, he doesn't say the MCU. He says a Marvel Universe film. So to your point, we can go back to 98.
Okay.
98, right? So it's, I think, one of the most impressive things that any studio's done in Hollywood, how they've tied it all together. No, it hasn't been perfect, and we do critique it because they've set such a high standard for themselves, right?
Correct.
But there's been a handful of directors that have taken shots at the MCU.
Not high standards according to Cameron, but
yeah.
Anyway.
But they take their shots, man. We could call them haters, probably.
Right.
I mean, I think they would definitely classify as haters. Martin Scorsese's one, who I love as a director.
Right.
I mean, Wolf of Wall Street's one of my favorite movies of all. I mean, I could list a million. Goodfellas, Casino. Right. I love Scorsese films.
Right.
But I don't like his take on the MCU. Mm-hmm. Now, James Cameron's joining the crew. Mm-hmm. He says that when I think of films that have epic events in them, like let's say a Marvel Universe where whole cities get destroyed and so on, they don't feel epic to me.
Right.
What say you, Adrian, on Jimmy over here?
Jimmy. So, love James Cameron movies.
Yeah.
Been a big fan pretty much all my, movie going life. Mm-hmm. He's done some exciting things, but, Jimmy, every movie isn't somebody sitting on a sinking boat with their hands flapping in the wind, Jimmy. Doesn't work that way. Nope. There are luxury cars. Then there's sports cars. James Cameron is a luxury car. MCU is a sports car.
Okay.
Stay in your own lane.
Right.
Stay in your own lane, Jimmy. We don't need your critique. You or Tom's. So, we respect what you do. Why don't you show respect to the other directors for what they do? Right. You don't have to cross-pollinate. We don't have to – if you're feeling some kind of way because you're kind of like fading out, cool, we'll get you a nice, I don't know, wheelchair or some shit.
We'll get him the bike that Ali Salim's riding off.
Yeah, give him the bike that Ali Salim is riding on. Whatever, dude. But just don't compromise what's going on in something that has absolutely nothing to do with the type of films that you do very well.
Yeah.
But not your style. Stay over there.
Yes, so we're going to play a little game here, Adrian. We're going to play a game. We're going to add up the epic films, okay? So,
epic films.
My man, James Cameron, epic films. Now, he's got some early films like Xenogenesis and Piranha 2. I've never seen those. We'll start with the Terminator, okay?
I never heard those.
Yeah. So his first two films, well, I'll run through he has the Terminator.
Yep.
He has Aliens.
Yep.
The Abyss.
Yep. Terminator
Terminator 2.
Yep.
Okay, just out of those four right there, I'm going to say Terminator 2 is an epic film.
Right.
Epic, right? Mm-hmm. Would you say any of the others? The Abyss, Aliens, the first Terminator?
Epic, epic, no, but, no. Very good films.
Great films.
Those four you listed, I like.
Yes, but we're saying epic is like, cinematic masterpiece. Like,
right. Like The Matrix. That was epic.
I would say Terminator 2 was epic.
Right.
I would say the action at the time and the story, the whole deal.
Right. For the time.
For the time. All right. So he's got one.
Yep.
Okay? We're going to add up. He's got one. True Lies. Not so epic.
Not so epic.
Not bad movie.
Entertaining, but not epic.
The Titanic. I would say that I'd argue that's epic.
I agree.
The scale of it. Yeah. The movie was like, I think 2 days long. You had to go back to watch it. It was like, I know there was an intermission. I know that.
Costume changes.
Exactly. But it was epic. And just the attention to detail, the ship, the whole deal.
Yep.
The first Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Epic.
Yeah. Epic. I would say epic.
I'd say epic.
Yep.
And then that was 2009. So that was right after the MCU got going, right? Mm-hmm. And then James Cameron was so busy watching all these MCU films, he didn't put out another movie until 2022.
Right.
Avatar: The Way of the Water. Mm-hmm. Would you consider this film epic?
I'm gonna say it's probably, let me say I gave Flash a 0. I would say Avatar 2 was probably a 2.5.
A 2.
Yeah.
Hold on, the golden question, Adrian. Everyone's gonna love this. Is Black Adam better than Avatar 2?
Mike, I never thought I'd hear myself saying this. Yes to that question. Okay. Black Adam is better than Avatar 2, but I would actually watch The Flash before I watch Avatar 2.
Wow.
Because it was so disappointing. it wasn't. The Flash was just a shit movie.
Yes.
Right. It wasn't good as the Flash movie. Avatar 2 was disappointing, which is a different category for me. I had no expectation of the Flash. I had a lot of expectation for Avatar 2, and it didn't do it at all. So no, I don't have to be locked up in prison to make a choice on this one. I would watch the Flash.
All right, there you have it. Black Adam's better than Avatar 2. So Avatar 2 not epic. So James Cameron, 3 epic films.
Right.
And this is, I'm not discrediting anything else. He has some other amazing, like the first Terminator, I actually love that movie.
Oh yeah.
It feels more of like a horror type movie than action. Aliens. So anyways, Titanic, first Avatar, Terminator 2, his epic film. So you got 3, bro. He's got like 9 Avatar movies coming up in the queue for some reason. Like, who's asking for these?
Right.
Who's out there like, we need more Avatar? I was good after the first one was good.
Right.
But I didn't need any more.
I mean, besides the, how long it's taking him to put them out. I mean, we'll all be dead. I don't know what kind of elixir he's drinking.
Exactly.
But we'll all be dead before the next one comes out.
100%. All right, so he's got 3. We're going to go through the MCU real quick. All right, so first phase, Adrian. Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, First Avengers, and The Avengers. Mm-hmm. The Avengers was epic, the first one.
Yep.
All right, would you say any of these other ones are epic? This is epic.
I wouldn't say epic.
Okay.
Definitely entertaining.
Yep.
Captain America, Iron Man 1. I like those. The Hulk, not so much.
Yeah. I mean, Iron Man. The first Iron Man, you could almost argue because of its impact, but we're not going to.
Right.
We'll give you we'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Jimmy. So the Avengers, we agree from Phase 1. That's an epic movie. I mean, first time characters like that from 4 other popular movies were brought in together in one. And I think even at the time, everyone was concerned about how well they'd balance, each character, and everyone got their shine in that movie. So, Avengers 1. All right, Phase 2, Iron Man 3, Christmas movie. Thor: Dark World, Captain America: Winter Soldier, Guardians, Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man. There's some really good movies in here. I don't see anything epic. Do you? Nope. So we'll move on. Phase 3, Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Thor: Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Endgame: Far From Home. All right. I'm going to say Endgame is epic.
Okay.
Infinity War is epic.
Okay.
I have some up, but I'll give you any ones you throw in there. Would you throw Black Panther in there? The first one?
I wouldn't call it epic.
Okay.
Definitely top tier, but not epic.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go with those.
What about, I'd argue Civil War.
Civil War. I'm on the fence on that one, but let's tip it over. Let's say epic. 3 out of that phase.
So we got 3 there.
Yep.
Plus the Avengers is 4.
Yep.
My man Cameron had 3.
Mm-hmm.
We're already 1 above. Okay. And now this is the multiverse saga. Black Widow. Definitely not epic.
All right.
Shang-Chi, nope. Eternals, nope. Spider-Man: No Way Home. Bringing back 3,
Very good, but not epic.
You wouldn't say epic.
I would not say epic.
I would say, but yeah, all right. Maybe we'll reserve the coin for that, maybe.
Yep.
You know what? All right, screw it. You call it in the air.
Tails.
I didn't flip it. See, I didn't flip it. It's Tails. Damn it. All right. Doctor Strange, nope. Thor: Love and Thunder,
no.
No. Wakanda Forever, no.
No.
Okay. And then we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, nope. Guardians 3, would you call that epic? I wouldn't. I don't know. The Marvels we haven't seen yet, and that's it. So we have 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
James Cameron, 3 epic films. Marvel has 4.
4.
Right. Yeah. Marvel won.
Even if Marvel hadn't won, even if Marvel had no epic movies, it's still unfair for him to critique a genre that he has no experience directing, unless he's put something out like Piranha 2 that I didn't know about that either. So, but you're just kind of shitting on somebody else's. It's like, I got a big house, you got a big house. Well, I'm gonna shit on your house because yours is made out of metal or some shit.
Right.
And it's like, come on. Come on, just leave it alone, dude.
Yeah.
There was no reason for you to be in the news this week.
Nope,
at all.
Not at all, dude. Not at all. And we're pretty strict here. Like I said, I mean, I could argue Black Panther in there. I could even, I mean, if we're talking Terminator 2 level of impact,
right.
You know, but anyway, I would say Marvel definitely winning that argument. But also like epic moments.
Right.
We've seen some really epic moments in some of these, you know,
non-epic movies.
Exactly. I mean, think about even just like the first Iron Man.
Right.
There's some epic moments in that. You go back to we talked about Winter Soldier.
Right.
You know, some of those scenes, like the Cap Winter Soldier fight. I mean, there's so much good. But to your point, like if it's not your cup of tea, dude, that's fine.
Right.
But why shit on it?
Right.
Because the weight that you bring, you're James Cameron.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I mean, how many? I mean, I'm sure you're not gonna throw off your age group that hasn't already, you know, adopted comic books into their lives. You're not going to change anything like that. Mm-hmm. But it's just not painful. It's just upsetting for people that enjoy comics, for somebody on the outside to, you know, to just peer through the window and say, well, what you're doing is shit, you know? So just, I don't even want to talk about this dude anymore.
Newsflash, buddy. They got more epic films than you. All right, next up. Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck can now re-enter the DCU. So,
is this real?
I read in a few spots. So now it's a rumor, but the rumor is that James Gunn. We know that he's now co-CEO of the DCU. They fired Henry Cavill. They fired Ben Affleck. They're going to keep Gal Gadot for Wonder Woman for some reason.
I thought that was squashed too.
Oh, is that squashed now too? Okay. You might be right. That's been up. And there was one piece of news came out early on where they were to keep her, but you're right. I think in this one it does say that she's not. But who the hell knows?
Right. But
the point now that the thing that they're coming out now saying is that he is going to recast some of these individuals as different roles in the DCU. Which, why? What, like, Ben Affleck's going to play who? The Riddler? Like, like, why?
Besides that, what makes you think that I'm going to give you control over my life after you just shit on me?
Right.
It's like, why would I want to work for a company that went out of their way to not just fire me, but destroy my reputation, all this other kind of stuff? Right. Why would I go back to work for you at all? I don't care what you're offering.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming somebody at Ben Affleck's level is not gonna, just accept that. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But we'll see. That tells his level of character too. But that's just a dick move.
It's just, why bother, dude? You got rid of them. You want to recast your whole new storyline and your vision, but you're like, oh, I can use them for another role.
Right.
Well, like, is Ben Affleck going to be Superman and Henry Cavill's going to be Flash this time? Like, why? Or cast them as some obscure. I mean, they're big names, so you can't just cast them as like an extra or a sidekick.
Right.
Ben Affleck's not going to be Jason Todd.
Right. I don't know. It just feels like something that they're just putting out just to piss people off, just to stay relevant. Yep. Because there's not really. It's almost like they just sat on the couch during this strike and not had anything planned once the strike ended, and so now they just throwing a bunch of just.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. That's our news this week, Adrian. Who is our buster? I mean, I think it's pretty simple, but
all right.
Who would you say?
Jimmy
Cameron, Jimmy Cam, you are our buster this week. So, like I said earlier, newsflash, buddy, they got more epic films than you. So, and that's kind of the rule, right? Like, if I'm bigger than you, if I beat you, you can't talk shit. Like, if you're running your mouth, Adrian, we start playing basketball and you win or whoever wins, the other one has to shut up.
Right.
I can't go, I'm better than you. You beat me. It's like, dude, shut up.
Well, talking trash and shitting on somebody is two different things.
True.
And Cameron's not talking trash. He's shitting on an entire category of.
Maybe he's mad because he hasn't directed one.
I think he secretly wants to.
A little jealousy, maybe?
Maybe. I think so.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But in the meantime, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. There you have it. All right.